What I argue is that this society does not demonstrate its likeness, that it likes children or makes any provision for children. If somebody could name a mainstream television programme that actually represented that children live in this society, I'd be grateful. I can't think of any. I can't think of one. And I think that's pretty indicative, because we can't forget the role of television in moulding and shaping people's attitudes.
Right. Well, look,
in
society. If you think of
that's right. And there aren't even any children.
Have you ever noticed, even in Dallas and Dynasty, the role the children play? The children are brought on like pupae.
They grow up 3 years in a fortnight, don't they? And they don't grow for another 4 years.
It's amazing. The parents occasionally kiss them on the forehead between death.
So
extraordinary.
are you saying that, basically I'm following your story, Germaine, that if actually children at whatever age are actually participating into the adult life, they're going to be more mature and with more chances of happiness? This is more or less what John was...
Well, they're already happy.
They would certainly be able to appreciate adult life a lot better when they grow into it themselves. They would certainly be more aware of the situation that their parents went through.
We've described in general terms some problems that we've observed. Maybe we generalise from the particular. We're not just talking about the Kimberley case. We're talking about a general problem that we all acknowledge, that some people in society are not looking after their children as they ought, right? That's something we'd all accept.
But that was a kind of recipe of how to actually try to improve things.
That's right,
in a
exactly.
way.
So that, I mean,
so if you go from there,
No,
let's see how we can...
We can't do that. The whole point is that our architecture won't allow it. It's impossible for Asian extended families to live together in England because the tax structure won't allow it. They already have to make provision to the government for the care of the members of their family they're already looking after. So they pay double. They pay through the teeth. So the families under this kind of economic pressure are breaking up. They're having to send widowed women to live with their children in another part of Leicester or whatever. And they're having the same problems we are. Postnatal depression is now known among Asian women in Britain. It's a very serious problem.
There's nothing to stop English families, Germaine. I mean, Kirsten, if I'm with you, I think I would conclude there's Calabrian children are happier. That's a conclusion you were unable to make.
They certainly seem to be more serene.
Well, I think so too, but there's nothing to stop English families doing that, surely.
Oh, yes,
no,
there
but
is.
there's a magic...
They don't like each other well enough in most
I think it could be done. It's surely there is not some genetic thing.
There isn't a genetic thing, but it comes down to education.
Yeah, but
I think parents have got to be able to...
You can't invent it, you've got to have been born
be
in it.
prepared to admit their shortcomings as far as their children are concerned, and possibly get help in that respect.
Well, maybe we have to explore and explode this myth called parental
rights.
rights.
That complicated.
Maybe we have to look at what we think parental rights entail.
Is that a sense of possession?
Yes.
Well, that's right.
And what
so
you
many
do.
people say he's
But
mine.
when you were talking about education,
And
wasn't
that's
it
possessing.
one way the British tried to get out from, this kind of cul-de-sac they were in with their children, in throwing out of the window all kinds of discipline and letting them do what they wanted? Wasn't that one way of doing it?
When did that happen?
It did.
Just as I heard no, it didn't. Well, I grew up. I was a teenager in the 60s. I was a teenager in the 60s. I don't recall. Although neither of my parents, I think, would qualify to be English in the sense that that you might understand. My mother was undoubtedly born in this country and is Jewish and grew up in a Jewish large family. My father's Nigerian and had a sense of, and continues to have a sense of, Nigerian African tradition and culture for childcare. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think I could describe my childhood, my upbringing, as typically English. I do know, and I did know, English children at the time, that their parents hadn't thrown the notion of discipline to the wind. Equally, I mean, you made a reference, and I was amused at your reference to the permissive society. I don't know who enjoyed this permissive society, but it wasn't very many people, and I do think we should that we should explode some of those myths.
It was a media hype, really.
There was a media hype then, and if we're going to go back to the Calabria model, not that I think anyone will wish to impose any other model on this society, but what we do have to say is that society's changed. We've changed from the Victorian period where we could look at the kind of neglect of young children when children were, and the work that was done to stop children working up chimneys. I mean, there was that period. There have been other periods. There have been social. There was Bowlby in the 40s. You know, there are different strands and currents that affect our attitudes, and we could adopt another one, which won't reach everybody, but will become part of a new way of doing things.
One of the things that we tend to lose it when we go back in the past and we get all sort of very deep about it. And I appreciate what you're saying, and what you're saying is right. But we canvassed 800 children all over the country, and we asked them what they wanted of their parents more than anything else.
What kind of age group?
Oh, we went from 6-year-olds right through to 14, 15-year-olds. And the one thing that they wanted more than anything else, it was funny. I thought it would be love. It was time.
That's right.
A boy told me a little story, and he told me, and he was quite upset when he told me this story. He was 14, and he said, look, I went to my father yesterday, and I said to him, Dad, I want 5 minutes of your time. I want to talk to you about something. And his dad said, not now, son. Here's £5. Go and get yourself something.
Yeah.
He said, I didn't want the £5.
right.
I wanted the time. It's another dirty four-letter word that we don't seem to like.
The
This
thing
word,
is, the children
time.
do realise that time is the most valuable thing we've got. And if we can afford to give it to them, then they're getting the best thing they can get.
Their parents.
But this brings us back to
really
this
is true.
question, you see, that the parents are harassed in that way and unable to spend the time because they think they're trying to give the children the best of everything, i.e. bigger bedroom, more light, more sport,
But it
more
was only
sporting
5
equipment.
minutes he wanted to do that.
But what
Yes,
about
I
the
know.
children? What about the children in the deprived home, who we'll say are unemployed and have got all the time in the world?
Do you know something really dreadful about
They
that?
can't give it to their
Somebody-
children,
Somebody told me that in Liverpool,
and they don't.
people who are on the
No
dole
communication at all.
were giving their children the biggest Christmas presents because they wanted the children not to suffer because their parents were on the dole. That's how little we understand our children.
That comes back to the material society they were saying before.
But
And
the
I
children
agree
don't want their
entirely
parents
with
to
what you
beg
say about
themselves to
time.
buy an
It is-
electric
Children
car.
have very simple needs.
Well,
Very simple
when you said that,
Are they
Diane,
solving
I
their
felt
own
extremely
functions
guilty.
rather than
Yes.
This
about
is-
time
yeah.
with the
I
children?
feel the same.
If my children are watching Hello this evening, what I know they would criticise me for was not having the
this
time.
time. Well,
They
we
would knock
find
on the headmaster's study door and say, Daddy, have you got time?
that's right. Well,
That's
we
awful.
find the same thing. I've got 3 children of my own, and we have at the moment 3 foster children. Now that means that the available time that I've got for them is effectively split in half, because I've got to offer it to somebody else as well.
It's a matter.
They fortunately do understand.
It's
No,
the
it's a
quality.
quality
It's
of
the
the
quality.
time.
Yeah.
It's how
That's
willingly
right.
you
Attentive
do it.
time,
Feel that.
yeah.
It's been able to get down
I-
and
You
give
see,
I
the
have
collaborative
a
model is
problem.
interesting from that point of view.
Leader of
Well,
a
they've got
council,
time.
extremely busy, have appointments all over, from early in the morning to late at night. My children come and stay with me, not able to do it at the moment because I'm sort of homeless. It's a bit complicated.
We don't want your excuses.
Yes,
don't we?
listen.
Don't we?
They're coming next week. And they won't be staying up, so they won't hear. I'm very busy, even when I have them, and they know that, but I do try to make time. And one of the things, and it's something that, it's another thing about deciding about, knowing what sort of relationship I wanted with my children before I had them, was I wanted them to have dinner with us. And that's one thing that I constantly do, that we always have dinner together. I do spend time with them, but I might also have to go to a meeting, so they might have to hang around.
Wouldn't it be
for
possible for you to arrange just to have that particular time with them without getting involved in work at the same time, and therefore give them your undivided attention?
I do, but I might, during a Saturday, have to do a half-hour thing, which I resent, having to take half an hour out. Having my children is precious.
I think you should make the effort to forget
the
that.
trouble is,
because
Well,
that's
let me put in a
that's
plea for godparents as well, though, because when you're growing up, sometimes you're grown up and sometimes you're a child. And with your mother, it's easy to be a child. When with someone else, it's easy to give an idea of just how close you're getting to being grown up. One of the hardest things to tell your mother about, and there's no earthly reason why you should, is for example, your sexual explorations, because they catapult you into the adult world. And one of the things about growing up is you should be allowed to make raids on the adult world and then retreat to security.
That's
So
right.
I think every child should have a godparent.
Yes.
Well, look, Linda, when you were saying that you were eating